my alerts are not to be copied. My alerts are to be just, looked at, understood, and so that you can deploy in your own form and fashion what it is that you want to do. And I'll give you an example. A lot of my guys on my team will look at my alerts and they'll go, I don't know if Clayton's looking at the TA here, but we look like we have a lot further to go down, so I'll hold it. And they'll look at my position, acknowledge where I'm getting out, and then they'll see if they have further to go past where I get out, and then they'll make more. And I'm sitting there going, oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad. But that being said, they're making their own decisions. Ed, thank you so much for your time this evening. I could not appreciate it more. I've got a few questions for you. You and I have spent a lot of time together, and I can't wait for this. Thank you for being here.
Yes, absolutely. We've known each other for a long time, and I'm excited.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. As am I. All right, my good sir. Where did you begin your background in trading and understanding the market?
So I came across TikTok from a previous Discord, and I was like, okay, well, I needed to do something. I was really into it more for like a passive income. I started joining the live calls, or lurking a lot. Once I felt more comfortable, I was like, hey, what do I do with this? How do I do that? That's how I really started it. I spent a good deal of, just like I said, lurking in the live calls, trying to understand everything, trying to understand the terminology of it all.
Makes sense to me. And ultimately, you and I got connected, which made me very happy. You and I have spent a lot of time together. So, all right. What steps did you take to further that understanding? Did you join any groups or have a mentor?
So I started with the Discord that I was in, had some educational stuff. That's how I started it all. Right in the very beginning, I thought I was ready for doing options contracts, and I quickly learned that it was just not. I was not ready. Like thrown in the fire, couldn't do it. I ended up actually contacting you for mentorship, and that has helped me immensely.
Well, I appreciate that. That's something that I'm going to be looking into more again. I want to see. There's a lot of folks who need help one on one, and just really do need one on one help. And I'm losing time by the day with everything that I've got going on with the different entities. But I know that that was helpful, and I do truly appreciate working one on one with folks. I think I just need to figure out a format for restructuring the amount of time that I was spending, because the traditional method was two-hour meetings a month, and sitting down for 2 hours. I had clients that were getting very tired, especially the ones that could only meet in the evenings, for example. So maybe I need to restructure that and then go back into it and just have that as an offering. Because through conversations with you, reviews, just testimonials, I think that authenticity is very important and transparency is very important. And I think the best way to do that is to start working one-on-one with people that would be interested in that, that caliber of work. And I felt like you yielded some good results from that.
Yeah, taking the mentorship and just really, YouTube videos that can show you a lot, and I'm more of a hands-on, like, show me how to do it and I'll go ahead and understand it that kind of way. Like, that worked a lot better for me than just watching a video and saying, okay, you got to do this, that, and the other thing. Whereas, like, I had you to be like, okay, so when I do this, I look at this, I look at that, this is how I enter this is how I enter that, exit this and that. And that has helped me really understand a lot better than, someone telling me how to do something. Showing is definitely significantly better for me.
Right. The interactive portion of it, I think, was huge. And I try to be as hands-on as possible, because that's how I learn. Somebody can tell me something until I'm blue in the face, and I can try to, make it make sense in my head and try to paint a picture as best I possibly can. But if somebody painted a picture to begin with, it'd be very clear. Right?
Right.
So, all right. How long have you known me?
I joined the Discord that we were in back in like October. In that time between October and November, I was lurking a lot, and closer to, like, if not December, I started really being more active and introducing myself and kind of being part of the community. I'm a little bit more of a shyer person, so it took me a little bit to kind of say, hey, what's up? I'm here.
Well, I mean, you're a great speaker, so I'm glad when you finally did start talking. And you and I, the cool thing about, I guess, our live call in our community is we have so many people that have such similar interests. whether, I mean, we can go through a plethora of different things. We don't have to do that here, but there's so many different things that we all individually love or somebody else does. And we always start conversations outside of the market to kind of, hey, it doesn't need to be about business all the time. It doesn't need to be about the market. We can talk about little games here or some shows here or hobbies or other investments, whatever it may be. But no, I think that was fantastic because you and I immediately clicked because of everything that we had in common and everything that we appreciated. So I thought that was awesome. So, what has been your perspective or experience from the Discord and live calls with me on a daily basis?
So the live calls have been very helpful for me. They helped me understand the jargon of the stock market. It was really literally the first taste I've ever gotten of it. I was into a little bit of crypto, but I never really understood it. Then I got started switching channels to the stock market side of it, and that has helped me understand it. It's helped me learn things, and the live calls in general have a good amount of intelligent people inside of it. So everyone has their own feedbacks on certain things, and everyone has their own interests in which stock they like, how they play it, and it's very good to try to understand strategies and try to understand how people play it differently and are successful in it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, when you're in the live call, do you feel as though that you can speak to me freely, speak about any topic you'd like, talk to me openly, have any kind of conversation you like, and ask me any question you'd like?
Absolutely. You're a very helpful person. You definitely are in the live calls to be that help that people need. And there's a lot going on in the stock market. Understanding what the bars mean, understanding what trends mean, understanding the differences between all of these events that happen throughout the month and throughout the weeks that really can affect the stock market if possible, depending on how it all goes. And you say, hey, listen, can you help me understand this? Can you help me understand that? Like, you definitely make the time and the effort to really understand it, and say, hey, does that make sense for you? And they'll say yes or no, and if need be, you'll clarify it. And that's also been very helpful for me to really kind of make myself present in the live calls as well as still being a part of the Discord in general.
Well, I appreciate that. And selfishly, I really do appreciate helping people, and it makes me feel a lot better, especially when I start to see the light bulb, when I start to see people have that aha moment. I, you know, that makes me feel fantastic. The selfless side of it is that I make sure that, well, this is the selfish and selfless side, but I make sure that everybody understands, at least from my experience, whatever it is that they're asking me, so that we can have more of a comprehensive community and a more of a comprehensive live call, right? Some of the guys that you met back when you and I first met, some of those guys are in our actually a lot of those guys are in our live call every single day, and I know that not only you have improved tremendously, but a lot of those other guys are improving. Like, for example, we use Michael for an example, or a couple other guys. Those gentlemen, when they first started speaking with you and I, or just in the call in general, covered calls, no idea. Credit spreads, don't know what that is. And now they're deploying them, they're utilizing them on their own, they're doing their own comprehensive technical analysis, whatever it may be, but they're completely self-sufficient now, right? Little poke here and there, a little comment here and there, and they're full swinging. So I think that's awesome. That's great. From when you started your investment journey to the present day, what has changed?
Honestly, everything has changed. I had no idea what the stock market was. I mean, I knew it was around, but I was so oblivious to, that side of the aisle that I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what it was capable of. Being in the live call, that has improved everything. I learned the jargon of it. Like I said, you've helped me understand, what different meetings mean, what it means for, so and so to speak. For example, Jay Powell, how impactful he can be on the market,
Right.
as well as numbers that some people may not understand or really see, and you say, okay, well, this is up or down from this level that we need to be at. This is bullish or bearish. And in reality, with that said, since I took the mentorship as well, I've learned to keep track of trades, and I've learned how to create rules for myself to say, hey, okay, I need to do this in order for me to to better succeed at being profitable in the stock market.
Well, no, I appreciate that very, very much. Again, the interactive part, I really I saw the value, and I've learned so much as well from you all, because you guys will ask me questions that open up my eyes to what it is that I'm doing, but a very different perspective, right? If I, you and I were just talking about credit spreads, and we were going through a range conversation of supports and resistances, and that conversation struck from Michael going, Clayton, how do we manage risk better when we're, taking profits on X, Y, and Z? And I thought to myself, well, I used to trade credit spreads a ton. This is something that's definitely applicable. And when you and I sit down, and when I went through the mentorship and I got to reflect on some of the things that I'm doing that could potentially help you, it helps me really clarify to myself, okay, Clayton, this is absolutely why you're doing this, right? And it's applicable to somebody else, and they very clearly see what it is that you're doing. So I'm always a student, I'm always learning, but teaching helps me learn a lot as well. So that interactive part in the live call where you and I can have a conversation, or at any time, just like we're doing now, I think it's very beneficial. All right. You and I talked about this before we started the call, but what do you need help with the most?
So entries and conviction. Um, I have learned supports and resistances, demand, supply and demands, candlestick structures and patterns, and then just executing the trades and being confident, like, okay, this is definitely going to go in this direction. My issues are just the entries in general. Entering too early, entering too late, expecting a boom or a different outcome, or even exiting too early. Uh, Pretty much it.
Loud and clear, loud and clear. Important stuff, right? So, and another thing is you don't have to know exactly what's going to happen in the trade in regards to the direction of the market, right? That's something we can't control. But every single other parameter we can control, right? Our risk, our amount of contracts that we're going in, our numerical size, our numerical stop, our percentage based stop. These are all parameters that we can control as traders. And then our entry we can control, right? And we have an extremely high amount of conviction. Maybe loosen the stop a little bit because we have a very strong reasoning behind a trade going in the direction we assume it's going to go in. And if it goes against us and we follow our rules and we stop ourselves out, that's still a win in my book. Me following my rules to a T is a personal win on the balance sheets, because I do manage assets for companies. May not have been, but if I'm managing my risk appropriately, then it won't matter if I took that loss, right? Because it's all understood and it's all correlated to the other numbers that I'm producing through other trading strategies that are much higher probability. But you can't guarantee yourself that the market's going to go in the direction you want. All you can guarantee yourself is you're going to follow your rules. That's probably the most important part.
Okay.
So, how has your trading and understanding of the market changed since you and I met and worked together one-on-one?
I mean, like I said, I went into the discords not knowing anything. Taking the mentorship, I can sit there and have a conversation with these guys in the live calls. I can sit there and understand what they're saying, and because of that, I've been able to participate in the live call and say, hey, listen, collaborate with them as well to be like, I'm looking at this, that, and the other thing on this. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Like, yeah, I'm in the same general area type of deal.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, I appreciate that. Have any of your habits on a day-to-day basis changed since you and I met and since we speak on a daily basis?
Yes, absolutely. I have learned that before the mentorship, I just kind of went in nilly willy, lost a lot of money, and kind of pretty much blew up my port. I've been able to understand that you got to keep track of your trades. You got to be able to keep yourself accountable. You got to have rules in place in order to keep yourself accountable. And keeping myself accountable, keeping it accountable, and keeping track of my trades has been able to take note of my psyche at the time to say, hey, okay, this is what happened. This is what went wrong. I mean, they always say hindsight's 2020, but being able to sit there, track my trades, and immediately say, this is how I feel about this. This is what I need to do different, that is a better understanding. Whereas I go walk away from it for like an hour, come back and say, okay, well, I could have did this better. I could have did that. They always say, and I feel like I've heard you say it before, the shoulda, coulda, woulda trader is the best trader possible.
Right. No, absolutely. That's a great point. Great answer. So when our Discord ultimately becomes paid, do you believe that a $50 per month price tag is a fair value for the offer and for the information that we provide?
I definitely believe so. There are other discords that charge significantly more, or maybe charge a little bit less, but they are a lot more chaotic and not very hands-on. You have to say, people have to make time. You have to, okay, well, you want to meet one-on-one with me, understand better. We're going to charge you X amount of dollars for this one-on-one. It gets, once those kind of discords that will do that, they get real finicky. Whereas you have taken the time out of your day to say, hey, does anyone need help? During market hours, during the live call, you'll be like, does anyone need help understanding a trade? Is anyone in the trade? What are you in? What's your stop? What's your target? You did it today. Okay, what's your profit target for that? What's your stop? Yeah, and if people don't have an answer for you, it helps keep them honest too, to be like, okay, well, maybe I'll take my profits here, maybe I'll take my profits there. And it keeps everyone accountable. Very hands-on, very personal.
Awesome.
I think it's definitely worth it.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to get a better gauge for how much I would like to charge, and I'm trying to make sure that it's comfortable, but it provides us, a sustainable revenue, as well as takes care of everybody who's working internally, and funds everything that I would like to provide to the Discord. Now, a follow-up question to that would be: is what would you like to have in the Discord community or offered by the Centurion Education Group that would better help you as a trader, investor, networker, whatever it may be?
And I was thinking about it, even more day traders within the channel would be a little bit better. There's a lot of day traders now. Some people are doing long-term stuff, and as the Discord continues to grow, there will be more people more interested in the day trading side of it.
Right.
And this kind of leads into the next question, where the live call is run pretty great. The only thing I would say we would need would be, well, I would request more so is maybe even just like a live TA session, so that way other traders can say, listen, I'm looking at X, Y, and Z stock, and I'm looking at these levels. What are your thoughts on it, or where do you see, potential bounces or potential rejections coming from here and there?
Got it. No,
In the past, it has helped me, because I say, okay, I think I understand this. Let me go over here. Let me do a little TA session with these guys, and let me see what they think. And it'll be roughly close, if not the same thing. And it's helped me create a little bit more confidence for myself when executing trades.
that's been a recommendation from a couple other folks, and that's something I'm definitely going to work on. Again, my response to that is I would love to have that, and I'm working towards that. But I have a very low tolerance for who I'm willing to dedicate my trust to, right? And so many people in this community are not transparent, or they're doing things that are just an absurd amount of risk that I do not want anybody to participate in. Because as much as I tell people, hey, I am doing this to explain what I do, to show what I do, and to provide uh, public tracking for my trades, my alerts are not to be copied. My alerts are to be just, looked at, understood, and so that you can deploy in your own form and fashion what it is that you want to do. And I'll give you an example. A lot of my guys on my team will look at my alerts and they'll go, I don't know if Clayton's looking at the TA here, but we look like we have a lot further to go down, so I'll hold it. And they'll look at my position, acknowledge where I'm getting out, and then they'll see if they have further to go past where I get out, and then they'll make more. And I'm sitting there going, oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad. But that being said, they're making their own decisions based on the information that I'm providing on what I'm doing. That's what I want. That's ultimately what I want. So
right, self-sufficiency.
Right. Because I want you and I to be able to have a conversation anytime we want, but when you and I leave the room, you can handle your business, right? So that's the biggest thing, and you've done an incredible job with that, to say the least. So
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The last question for you is, what can I do as a business owner, as running the live call, to better improve for you?
There's not really much. I had some time to really think about this one. I'm not really entirely sure what it is that you could do better from like a business standpoint. The business side of things is where my expertise is like none almost. But from like maybe more of like a personal, the only thing I could think of is maybe making some a little bit more time for yourself. It's constant where you hear in a live call, it's like, okay, listen, I got this meeting, I got to do this, that, and the other thing. My whole day's packed. And it's just like we hear you, and it's just like what does Clayton do for himself? Like,
I've got a lot on my plate, and I have a couple of short-term goals that I would like to hit as quickly as possible, and that'll start to free up some of my time and let me relax a little bit. And be, you know, right now it is just a absolute Gatling gun of work and content and client meetings and all these different things to get everything set up. Once I get to a point where I have to start saying, all right, I don't have time for this, instead of me going, okay, my schedule is here, I packed it all full, I'll get everything done today. I want to get to a point where I go, okay, that meeting that I need to have, I'll do it in a couple days because I have 3 hours here on my schedule built in for us to go hit golf balls, right? And I only say that because I do want to relax, right? And I want to take care of my team, and I want them to get up from their desks as well. But that's an incredible point, and I really appreciate that. And it shows how strong our relationship is. And again, the time you and I have spent together since we first met, I've spent. I mean, if I had to go on a leaderboard, I think you and I have spent more time outside of the live call together than I have with most. So. And I appreciate your time on that end as well. And as always, what I like to say is if the meeting is going to take less than 30 minutes, and my bottom line is, and I get this a lot, and I'm sure you'll understand this, on Instagram, I have all these people who will say, Clayton, teach me about stocks, or, meet with me for, an hour and tell me exactly what you do and how you do it. When I have people like yourself who are extremely kind to me, well-spoken, respectful, ask me questions that are applicable, and just, honestly want to get better, and they're showing me they want to get better, you can have any 30-minute time block you want. Because it makes me happy to talk to you and see you improving. So, there's a tight group of folks that go on that list, but I'm very appreciative of you and of you getting to the point where you ask me for anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It's no holds barred.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want to waste your time. I know what we're in here for, and I know, like I said, you talk about your schedule a lot, and I know you're a busy man. So if you can make the time for me, I'll definitely, most absolutely make the time for you, and the time for me worth it.
No, I appreciate that, but I love shooting the what with you. I really do, and I appreciate your time. That concludes all of the questions on my end. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I think what you're doing is great. This Discord is going to do great. You keep working hard as you do, and I mean, you being personal with everyone is a lot different than what I have experienced in the past, or in general in the other Discords as well. So I think this is going to be a great journey for you. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to keep my foot on the gas pedal, and I'm going to do everything I can not to lift it off. I'll take some time for myself, and I will also start looking at other day traders that are. The biggest thing with me is that there's a lot of day traders that say they know what they're doing, do relatively well, and then I meet them, and then I'm sitting there going, okay, all right, tell him to take a walk.
Right. I heard you say in the past, transparency is key. So, obviously it's difficult in these days where it's like, okay, well, the market's doing the shitty thing. Like, are these people really making, X amount of dollars in XYZ stock?
That's my thought process, right? I don't need somebody to beat me per se. I would love it if they beat me because I'm not day trading. I'm doing a different format. But last month, the market was just a chop fest. And I did 4.5% return on cash. So that was on the total portfolio in cash. And I'm very proud of that. But then, if there's a day trader who's not making relatively consistent profits, they're not going to beat that. And if they are making relatively consistent profits and they document it and they have no problem showing it to me, then we got a playing field. And I'm all for that. But I got to, that's a little bit of my issue. I'm very strict on trust. especially with people who are operating my business. Because if I brought somebody in this company that did something to you or any of the other guys that I talk to on a daily basis that we're close with, I would lose my marbles. My head would explode. I cannot let that happen, because I know you guys trust me, and I know the relationship that we built over time is strong, and I do not want to jeopardize that in any capacity at all, ever. So that's why my trust is so strict with other people who are, most of these guys are lacking the transparency you and I are referring to. But I will take that into consideration, and I will look forward to whoever it is that we can bring onto the team. I know we have Mr. Zink, and soon, maybe full time.
Nice.
Maybe
That'll be
full-time.
awesome. Zink is a great trader, and he definitely knows what to look for. I've had a conversation with him, and since I've had that conversation with him, I don't know if you heard it in the last call, but I've been really focusing on working on the 5-minute chart, not the 1 minute where it's like all chaos and noise.
Right. So I've got a social media schedule for everything that I need to do content wise, etc. And on that today, and instead of that, I did the Fed news that came out at 12, but it was a difference between the 1 minute chart and the 5-minute chart in a short form content video. So that means Clayton, go off for 20 seconds. And you've got a shitload of noise and you've got some clarity, but a little bit of noise. And that's really the major difference. And I know you realize that. So, Ed, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you answering my questions. I could not appreciate you more in the relationship that we've had for such a long time, and I'm hoping to see that continue in the future.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to be part of this. This is going to be great.
Of course. Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah.